everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be taking a look at this David Bowie album. I'm going to be reviewing Diamond Dogs today. So yes, I'll just be doing the usual thing in this video, giving a bit of background information about the album, then showing you my vinyl copy of it here, and then looking at each of the album songs in detail. So yes, this is David Bowie's 8th studio album, released on the 24th of May in 1974. Initially, Bowie intended to make a musical adaptation of George Orwell's novel 1984. However, Orwell's estate denied Bowie the rights to make this musical off his novel. However, this didn't stop Bowie from being heavily inspired by its contents for many off the songs such as 1984 and Big Brother. By this point as well, Bowie had got rid of his Ziggy Stardust persona and band, most notably long-time musicians like Mick Ronson and Trevor Bolder, who had played with him, I believe, since The Man Who Sold the World album. He didn't use them on this record. Instead, he recruited LA session musicians such as Tony Newman on drums and Herbie Flowers on bass, and Bowie himself handled most of the guitar work. So upon release in 1974, the album gained a mostly critical reception. However, it was probably a bit more muted compared to his last couple of albums, Ziggy and Aladdin Sane. However, that didn't stop it reaching number one in the UK, and it continued his American success, reaching number 5 over there and going gold in both countries. So I will try to show you without a copy of it. This is just a fairly recent reissue of it, what's come out. So yeah, quite nice artwork on this one here. Just sort of opens up like that. There's the back of it, and then the inside has a very dystopian, gatefold design to it there. I don't think the inner sleeve was anything too special in this. It was just a plain sleeve. There's no lyric insert or anything. And this is just on the replica RCA Bowie label there. So yeah, that's what the vinyl record looks like. Okay, so I'll now go over each of the album songs. So I'll score each track out of 10 and then use those scores to give us a overall percentage marking for the album. Okay, so the first proper song on the album is Diamond Dogs. However, that isn't the first track. The first track's called Future Legend, and it's more a kind of spoken word track, which sets the tone for the album, quite apocalyptic nature. It's actually the text what's displayed on the gatefold there. So yeah, that's what it's like. So yeah, that's a real scene setter for the album. Then that transitioned in to the first proper song, which is Diamond Dogs, which yeah, I think is a really, really great song. It's kind of a Rolling Stonesy rocker, very swaggery kind of song, this one here. Lyrically it's just really good as well. Mentions Bowie's alter ego character for this album, Halloween Jack, who lives on top of a Manhattan skyscraper, and more generally just the decay going on in this dystopian world and that. It was one of the singles from the album, but it didn't do all that great. Only reached number 21 in the UK. It's quite a long track as well. Clocks in 5 minutes 50. So yeah. I do think it works well as an album opener. As a single though, maybe wasn't quite as successful. But yeah, brilliant way to kick off the album there though. We'll give that one overall a 9 out of 10. And now the next 3 tracks I am actually going to score together because they all flow into one another very seamlessly. They are all effectively the same song really, just different parts of it. So it's Sweet Thing / Candidate / Sweet Thing Reprise. And so yeah, this is a more kind of slower, more soulful ballad. This one here features a really strong vocal from Bowie, really he just soars to new heights, singing the chorus on this one here. Now, lyrically, this one was written using the cut-up method, which I believe was the first time Bowie had used this method to write his lyrics. Basically live. It's just basically just writing out a load of random phrases on bits of paper, cutting them up and then rearranging them into a pleasing lyric. And he would go on to use this trick throughout the rest of his career. And And then Sweet Thing goes into like Candidate, which is a more kind of tense and moody piece. I really like this one, like how it slowly builds up like the tension like throughout the song, and like Bowie's like sort of like lyrics like become like more like intense. Like it really just like complements music and lyrics that go hand in hand like with this track. And then like the Sweet Thing reprise, like, which is only about 2 minutes long, like is also like a bass heavy kind of stompy sort of song, which I think like leads us into the next song really well. Which that song is the classic single from this album, Rebel Rebel, which, yeah, a wonderful song this, an easy 10 out of 10 for me, probably my favourite one on the album, I would say. Yeah, it's just got one of the all-time great guitar riffs on it, good lyrics like about someone like who doesn't conform like with like society's way like of dressing. Again, it's just a really like raw and rough production like on it, really helps the song like come alive. Like it's not polished down like by any means. Like it's almost like a precursor like to punk, like this song, like in like some ways. And that yeah was like the lead single from the records, like was a big hit like in like the UK, like reached number 5, like in like America though only got to number 63. So yeah, like not sure like what it used to buy in like in like 1974, but yeah, like Rebel Rebel, like one of like the great songs like off like the year there. Okay, and then the next song on the album is called Rock and Roll With Me. And now this song was supposedly written and intended to be part of a Ziggy Stardust musical, like which was never made. But like, listen to the song, like I can certainly see that, because it has a sort of like a kind of like a conclusive like sense to like this one here, like sort of like with like very sort of like a sing-along chorus, like you can really like imagine like sort of like on stage, like sort of like a musical like ensemble like singing like along like to like the chorus, like when you rock and roll with me, there's no one else I'd rather be. And like lyrically the song like is about sort of like the power like of like rock music, like sort of like the like emotional like effects like it can have like on like people. And like yeah, like I would say though the song like on this album though is probably the most plain like and generic one, but like by no means like it is like a bad song. Like it's a track like where Bowie like isn't really moving forward. This song is sort of like a Ziggy Stardust like style track. It almost feels like it could be like on like that album.
We feel that we are paper, choking on you.
And then the next sort of part of the album kicks off with We Are The Dead, and this is like the 1984 like sort of like section like off the album. And this one, We Are The Dead, kind of starts off like with this very sort of like slightly plodding piano like sort of sound to it, like whether like it's a really sort of like brooding like very sort of like impending doom like sort of like feel like to this one here. I think the song builds up really well musically, and like lyrically like Bowie sort of like he jam packs like the lyrics like on this one here, like which like his like delivery as well, it seems like sort of like full like off like panic and like that like sort of like very sort of like shocked like tone to it. Like again, like it's very like dramatic, and like as I said, like kind of like you can sort of tell like this one like was made like for like a stage musical, because it has that sort of like feeling to it. Like but yeah, like another really good song there. Like would give that one an 8 out of 10. And then the next track up is probably the biggest clue like as to where Bowie like was going to go next like in like his career. Like he always does this like on like his albums, like he always puts on like one song like where it's one song like which sort of like is like a precursor like to like his like next album, like what it's going to sound like. And like this is that song. So it's 1984, and this one has a sort of like a funky like wah wah guitar like taking center stage like on the song. These really nice like sort of like strings like on like the track gives it a really fun like very danceable flavour. Again, like it's just a really sort of like fun soulful song, like which definitely like is like a precursor like to like the follow-up album like Young Americans. However, lyrically it is rooted like in like Orwell's novel like off like the same name, like kind of like just sort of like describing like one of like the parts like off like the novel. And like yeah, it was also a single as well. Like I would say like quite a good choice there for the single, because it is very sort of like fun, very commercial sounding song. Unfortunately though, like it failed to chart like everywhere like it was released, like which is a shame there. But yeah, 1984, like one of my favourites like on the album. We'll give that one a 10 out of 10. Okay, and then the next track up is called Big Brother, which is the last sort of like proper song like on like the record, like I would say. Lyrically, this one is about the ending like of 1984, like where like the main character like has like been brainwashed like into loving like the Big Brother. Like again, like the structure like of the song like is really interesting, like with like a very sort of like anthemic chorus. Like I love like the chorus, like the someone to save us, someone to follow bit. I like then like more like quieter verses like are like a really good like counterpoint to that. The actual this then goes into like the actual closing song, which is called Chant of the Ever Circling Skeleton Family, and this one is a kind of strange like sort of like kind of like a sort of like a vocal like sort of like effects like on like this one here. Like I like it though. Like I think it ends the album like rather well. Like again like how this record like is sort of like bookended like by two like slightly shorter like tracks, like not like not like real songs, like more sort of like scene setters like for like the record. So yeah, like I think like closes off the album really well. Okay, so overall this album would score 89%. So I think this is a really strong record here from Bowie. It's a real transitional album for him, like where like he's still showing like some like glam influences like on songs like Rebel Rebel and like Rock and Roll With Me. However, on like tracks such as Sweet Thing and 1984, like is also going to show like where like he's going to go like on like his Plastic Soul follow-up Young Americans. I really like the fact like on this album Bowie plays all off the guitar. It gives the album a real sort of fresh feeling to it, like after like the more like sort of like virtuosic playing like off like Mick Ronson and like later like in like his career like Carlos Alomar. Like this album sort of stands out a bit more because the guitar playing like is a bit more scratchy, like a little bit more like rough around the edges. And like although it was cobbled together like by like a variety like of like abandoned projects, it still feels very cohesive like as like a concept album, like that sort of thing, like where it starts off and like ends like really well. Like you've got like a great sort of like theme to it, like sort of like the artwork like sort of like brings it all together. Like I think that this record like is a really good, really solid, underrated David Bowie album, because everyone like talks about Ziggy and like Aladdin Sane. Personally though, I think this album is actually better than both of those albums. So yeah, that has been my review here of Diamond Dogs. So yes, I would be very interested to know what you think of this album down below in the comments, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.